We will now talk about how I use record, rank, and publish as a tool for our off-season track and field program and our in-season track and field program. You may be wondering, wait a minute, I'm not a track and field coach. All I can tell you is don't turn it off right now. Because as a football coach or a lacrosse coach or a soccer coach, the things that we do in track and field, in my opinion, is exactly what you should be doing in your off season. Track and field is the ultimate measured sport. We measure everything. 100-meter dash, 200-meter dash. In the shot put, we measure how far they throw. In the high jump, how high do they jump. We measure with fully automatic timing. Peter Drucker said, if you can't measure it, you can't improve it. And I think that's a big buy-in to this whole idea about record, rank, and publish. Heisenberg was one of my favorite characters in science. He said the act of observing will influence the thing that's being observed. And man, coaches should really know that. How many times have we seen a coach walk out of the gymnasium and his basketball team just stops working? That if you're not watching an athlete closely, they're not performing very well. So close observation, I think, is something that we really need to revisit. The closer we observe, the better our kids will perform. If you video a performance, kids will perform better. If you measure a kid's performance, they will perform better. That's why we time our sprints. That's why we measure our jumps. And the fourth thing is kind of overrated from the data that I have. Competition does not improve all performance. Some kids, yes, some kids, no. For some kids, they get distracted with competition. They don't perform as well. Other kids go crazy with competition. But I think we still need to put that in as 4 different things that really change performance. And as we said earlier, we need to start performing in practice. So if we measure it, what do we measure it with? I've measured speed with many different things. This is by far the most convenient, most easy to transport, most weatherproof, windproof. Everything that I need as a track coach is taken care of with Freelap. Now, coaching a group of 30 to 50 guys, you can survive with about a $2,500 outfit. I would suggest not getting the touchpad. I don't like the efficiency of the touchpad. It slows down what we're doing. You'll need at least 11 chips. One comes with the BLE 112, and then you buy an extra pack. I have 21 chips. Obviously, 21 chips is better than 11. We have less sharing going on. But we still have to share because last year I had 37 sprinters, 21 chips, not one for each guy. So this is what I would suggest. And if you want to know exactly, I will attach my exact recommendations to this course. If you are a single athlete that wants to record themselves or to time themselves, or if you're working with a group of, let's say, a handful of athletes, I think you only need 1 chip and you share it. Because every time you time one of those kids, they need a 5-minute rest. So they can easily get it back in a minute or so when the next guy goes. But if you don't get the touchpad, you can get this for as low as $535. I'm remotely training 2 athletes in Pennsylvania who have both bought this package, and they just absolutely love it. And this is the reason why you can get this cheaper is not because the chip is cheaper. The chip is actually $100 more than the chips that I have, but you don't have to have the relay. See the thing on the tripod there? That thing costs a few $100s or something, and because it's Bluetooth, the times will go directly to your phone. With this outfit, the relay is needed to send times to your phone. Your phone will have an app, and that's where you'll see the times. But for many years, I used a stopwatch. And I think you can still do that. The only problem with a stopwatch is that you cannot measure a very short sprint. For example, a 10-meter fly takes about a second to run. You are going to have very inaccurate times if you ever try to do a 10-meter fly with a stopwatch. It's impossible. But you can measure some longer flies, and we'll talk about that in a little bit. Now, you are shooting for having the most speed possible in your program. This is just, I don't think there's any argument here. When I first went to Plainfield North in 2007, the school was brand new. We did not have seniors. We did not have a graduating class till 2008. But we only had 3 kids under 4.6 in the 40. We had 8 the next year, 12 the next. And by the way we time 40s, or the way I time 40s, is exactly the same lane, same track, same direction. Me as a timer, all that stuff is the same throughout all this. So this is pretty scientific. So we developed a culture of speed at Plainfield North. In 2017, it is no coincidence that in 2017, we almost won the state championship in football. We got beat by nationally 9th ranked East St. Louis, and we got beat 26-13. But we were a faster team than they were, which is pretty amazing. We had 32 kids in 2017 that ran better than a 4.6 in the 40. Remember, you can never be too fast. We want infinite speed. And to do that, you have to prioritize it. It has to be more important in the weight room, much more important than conditioning. You should never be concerned with speed capacity until you get into the season. And then you let the season take care of speed capacity. Because here's the deal. If you have a kid that can run 22 miles an hour, that kid should be able to run 18 miles an hour all day. That's speed capacity. And so the better your max speed, the better your speed capacity is. It does not work in the other direction. If you train your kids by running them 30 40s, like 30 sprints, you are training them for speed capacity, but you will actually hurt their speed. You are going to stunt their growth in speed. So do not be concerned with getting them in shape or developing repeat sprint ability. You need to work on absolute speed in the off season. In my training, we are so data driven that I can take a kid like Tommy Harris, who comes in having never played a sport in his life. He played the trumpet in the band. His first time out, he's the guy in the blue dots. This is 4 winters of 10-meter flies. He came in running 1.21. 1.21 is about 18 miles an hour. His final run, his senior year, this would have been like February of his senior year, he ran 0.94, which is well over 23 miles an hour, close to 24. This is remarkable progress, and this is what you can do if you will prioritize speed and be data-driven. In the red, we have Devon Robowski, who is a year younger than Tommy Harris, so his dots are showing up as freshman, sophomore, junior. He did not have a senior year. He was homeless his senior year and did not run for us. So he came in at 1.17. That's pretty good, but it's still a very ordinary freshman. And his fastest time was a 0.96 at the end of the winter his junior year. This is what you can do if you start writing down the times. Brett Bartholomew said, "My best advice in 4 words, play the long game." I think that's great stuff. I think we should play the long game in everything we do. I've often said that life is a marathon, not a sprint. And what this means to a coach is that you have to adopt a speed culture for your entire program. You want your incoming freshmen being exposed to speed training, hopefully in the 8th grade or in the summer before their freshman year. And you want to see a 4-year long-term speed program that prioritizes that speed throughout all their seasons and all their off seasons. This is Jalen Tillman. You can tell he's a total stud. He would have been MVP of my track team this year. He was MVP of his football team. This past year, even though we had Marcellus Moore as a wide receiver, Jalen Tillman was our MVP. He is going to be a college wide receiver. Now, you need to look at a guy like this and not think, well, he has God-given ability. We all have God-given ability, but Jalen came in as our 16th fastest freshman in 2017. As a senior this year, he was our second fastest in the school. He was the fastest senior, but we did have a junior slightly faster than he was. But he came in running a 5.05 on the first day. As a freshman, he only broke 5 one time during that winter. He left running 4.44. Remember, if you don't know where you've been, then you don't know where you're going. Motivation is the fire that starts burning after you manually, painfully coax it into existence, and it feeds on the satisfaction of seeing yourself make progress. There's only one recipe for gaining motivation: success. That comes from a book called The Motivation Myth by Jeff Hayden. And what this speaks to me about is the idea that we become good at what we become good at. In other words, we have to see progress. And I think it's so hard, especially in the classroom. A C student gets C's on every test. I tell people that a test is a great predictor of future test scores. In speed training, it's totally different. If we can show a kid that he's getting faster, that kid becomes interested in getting faster, and he becomes motivated to become a sprinter. And that's what we want. So here's Jalen coming in, same 4-year period. He came in at 18.6 miles per hour and left at 22.6. Now, these are not 40 times. We are now dealing with 10-meter fly times. He came in running a 1.20 in the 10-meter fly and left running an 0.98. So what in the hell is this 10-meter fly stuff? A fly is a timed sprint that does not start from zero velocity. You get to run in and get up to maximum speed before the timer starts. So it usually takes about 20 to 30 meters to get a guy to top speed. If you are not getting top speed, then you aren't measuring top speed. We do limit the run-in sometimes, but only when we are checking acceleration. If we want to know how fast a guy can accelerate, we'll do different. But remember, anytime you're measuring a 10-meter fly, let them get back as far as needed. By the way, the faster a guy is, the further back he needs to get. So this is Liam Kennedy. I have trained Liam for several months now. He lives outside of Philadelphia. When he first bought the Freelap Bluetooth set, the timing system, he was running some 106s. I would say his average time was about 103. And he has run a couple 097s, which is 23 miles an hour. Basically, this guy, just a generic, normal-sized white guy, slot receiver on his football team, has never run track, started speed training at 21.7 miles per hour, and progressed to a time that would lead him to possibly be a Division I receiver. It's pretty exciting stuff. We'll see what the fly looks like here. Note that he is running at full speed trying to get to a maximum speed before he gets to the free lap cone. We'll watch that again. I want to point out a couple things to you here. I said he has the free lap Bluetooth. All right. There's the start cone. What you do with that cone, you push the button that says start. And he's wearing a chip, and it will trigger the time to start when that chip comes within 0.8 meters of the cone. And then here is the finish cone. Once again, you just push the button that says finish, and that 10-meter fly is going to be measured. There is no tripod because he has the Bluetooth stuff. If it was my system, it would have a tripod. And then you have the nice little carrying case right here. Remember that wind does not blow down these cones. You can do this in the rain. You can do this in a hurricane if you wanted to. So it's a very it's something that's really, really good for somebody who's doing solo speed training. You've heard me mention miles per hour. That's a big thing these days, and if you see coaches doing miles per hour, they got this from me. I started doing this because, first of all, I probably started being an obsessive timer before anybody else. So what you do is you run a 10-meter fly, and you take 22.37, divide it by your time, and that gives you miles per hour. 23 miles an hour is a super fast high school athlete. 27.6 miles per hour is Usain Bolt in the Olympics when he set the world record. So anything over 20 miles an hour, my guys win a wristband. These are those bands that you can order. I get them from rapidwristbands.com. Rapidwristbands.com. If they run 20 miles an hour, they get the white one. It says PN Track. If they run 21 miles an hour, they get the Feed the Cats black one. Always lightning bolts. You can customize these however you want. I went with the Batman font. I think it looks really cool. 22 miles per hour is the silver band that says Speed Kills. And then the ultimate band is 23 miles an hour that says no speed limit. Marcellus Moore is the only guy I have coached that has gone over 24 miles an hour. So I just went with these four. I don't coach girls. In Illinois, we're segregated on the boys teams and girls teams. So I've never coached a girl in my life. If I was coaching girls, I think girls coaches go with 16, 17, 18, 19 miles an hour. It might be 17 through 20. I know if you have a girl that can go 20 miles an hour, she's a college athlete for sure. Now, this is what I did for many years. I would time the 40-yard dash with my stopwatch, and I would time the 10-meter fly as the final 10 meters of that 40-yard dash. I really loved it because I was getting two metrics in one run. Now, the 40 endeared me to all the football players. And I love the 40. The 40 is half acceleration, half max speed. So I love the 40. I think it's a great way to train in the off season. Most teams just test with the 40. That gets back to the idea that our training is our testing and our testing is our training. So the thing that I learned in those 21 years of doing this is that sometimes guys that were really good in the 40 were not really good in the 100 meters, in the 200 meters. And there's some reasons for that I won't get into. But here's the deal. The guys that were real good at the 10-meter fly, that had a really good maximum absolute speed, there were no false positives. For example, if you could run 0.97, 23 miles an hour in the 10-meter fly, you were going to be good in the 40. You're going to be good in the 100. You're going to be good in the 200. You're going to be good in the 400. You're going to be a great football player as well. So the 10-meter fly is kind of the holy grail, But the 40 is a great training thing, and it's so connected with the football culture. And I think track teams and football teams need to be married and intermixed, and track coaches need to be on the football staff, and football coaches need to be on the track staff, and all that stuff. So you may say, well, why'd you time with a stopwatch? Well, I had like 15 years of data, stopwatch data. So I did not want to throw out all those times and say we're going to automate the 40 times. So anyway, now I have 21 years of handheld data for the 40, and it's okay.